You cannot have a society where death has no meaning, because life has no meaning. And you cannot have a society which bases itself upon the absence of the religious urge, however you define that urge and whatever system you use, because you will end up with a society which has two values beyond subsistence. And that could be seen in the title of a grubby play produced in London a couple of years ago called Shopping and Fornication.
We've been ruled by liberal ideas for many centuries, but in the most acute form in the last 50 years. Liberal ideas say that men and women are the same and are interchangeable, that war is morally bad, that all races are the same and should all live together, that a population that just exists in a country is just a zone, it's just an economic area, that everything's based on rationalism and materialism and is purely a calculation of economic self-interest. Now there will be millions of our people who say, what is this chap talking about? This is all abstraction. Go out there in the street and you see the example of a society that's based on these sorts of ideas. We face a situation in the West where paradoxically, spiritually, we're in a far worse state than the people who lived under communism. And this is one of the great ironies, because amongst its manias and the rest of it, communism froze things. It froze things glacially for 50 years in many respects. And much of the decay, the voluntarist decay, much of which we've imposed on ourselves because of ideas that successive generations of our leaders have adopted from themselves and from others, didn't occur to the same degree in the East. The idea of self-denigration, that patriotism's the worst evil on earth, that patriotism's one stop from genocide, that your own group's always the worst group. This hasn't been institutionalised and internalised quite to the same degree. It's perverse that peace and plenty can produce more decadence and decay than hardline Puritanism, artistic Philistinism, queuing and terror. But that's what's happened.
Most people in Western societies now are so dumbed down and so degraded by almost every aspect of life that nearly any philosophical speculation about life is indeterminate and almost completely meaningless. It's a channel which they never turn on. The society that we have now is the result of the fact that every politician in all of the parties represented in the major assemblies, including radical right parties, essentially of a populist hue, believe in Homo economicus. They believe that man is an economic integer and nothing else matters. Immigration? It's good for the economy, don't you know? Is life really about shopping? Is life really about making more and more money? Is life really about eating yourself to death? I personally believe that, as we ever learned, that people are hardwired for faith. Maybe 1 in 10 have no need of it at all. But for most people, it's a requirement. The depth of the belief, the knowledge that goes into the belief, the system they come out of is slightly incidental. But man needs emotional truths. George Bernard Shaw once said that one man with belief is worth 50 men who don't have any. Philosophical, religious, semi-religious, philosophical melded into religious, and vice versa. Without the belief that there's something above you, and before you, and beyond you, and behind you that leads to that which is above you, we seem as a species content to slough down into the lowest common denominator, the lowest possible level.